BYDFi is a crypto exchange on desktop and mobile where you can spot trade, futures trade, use leverage tokens, and copy the trades of top trade. There's hundreds of crypto available on their spot exchange, as well as a free test account so you can practice futures trading without getting wrecked. BYDFi.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So I've just been sitting here watching these markets, not just obviously following this morning's video with XRP, but obviously we've got Bitcoin and Ethereum, but not just that, we've also got the S&P coming back down, and also at the same time the Dixie is slightly in the red. Interesting really to see this, because what it suggests is we need to be very cautious. It's like I've been saying for a while now, it's sort of stuck like a broken record really. You know, it's going to keep going up until it stops, right? We do have warning signs across the board for everything. Now, obviously, Bitcoin's no big surprise. Bitcoin actually has peaked at its previous all-time high, give or take a few, degrees. It's painstakingly obvious that there was going to be some form of reaction around that zone, and we're sort of seeing it right now. So just based on this weekly, we're still looking actually okay. Despite the bearish divergence on the money flow index, I still think dips are for buying, right? And that's just based on what we see right now, but this isn't anything that you should be overbuying. This isn't anything that you should literally, take out kidneys, put them on eBay, sell the kids, all this sort of stuff. You shouldn't be doing anything quite like that. But until we see a change of structure on the actual chart, seeing things like momentum oscillators or high reads on the MFI, stuff like that, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant. It's definitely still relevant, but we recognise and we are also more than aware that the money's just pouring into Bitcoin through the ETFs, and it might not show potential overheated money flow indexes through Binance, despite it trading at over $4 billion in a 24-hour period today, and that's not any different generally to how it has been trading these last few weeks. It's kind of been going kind of crazy. So it's not just ETF money. There's billions that's going into it through Binance alone. So the idea of this rotation into altcoins, people think is kind of, it's not going to happen because the money's coming through ETFs. Yeah, a lot of money is coming through ETFs. There's also a lot of money going through exchanges. So I don't know how many Bitcoins you've got. I know how many I've got. I don't see it too much of a problem in flipping one of those Bitcoins into an altcoin if it looks okay, with the view to make a 10, 20, 30, 40% move on that. So that obviously one Bitcoin into 1.2 Bitcoins is actually a decent gain, especially with today's value. So you're thinking about that. From my perspective, I'm not putting money into ETFs. I'm trading through Binance. I'm trading through KuCoin. I'm trading through a variety of exchanges. I have the ability to do that. Why wouldn't I do that? It's no different to how it's been in the past. But you've got to make sure that you've got the right chart. So that leads into a nice little segue. If you want to join the Patreon, we've got a live stream tonight. So, in fact, a live stream in about 3.5 hours. So, if you want to join that, sign up with the links in the description below. So, this morning we were talking specifically on XRP about how we might dump down into prior levels for what could be a golden cross retest down here on this daily, sitting at 56 cents, maybe 58 cents if you were to think about this over the next couple of days. This is a major target for us. Now, it doesn't have to happen. We don't, necessarily believe that is going to happen. But because there is a golden cross there, now there's a dump in the market, and it's a dump in all markets, whether that's Bitcoin or major indices or individual stocks or whatever, there's a dip in the market. So the first dip and the first criteria of that dip that I was talking about this morning has already been hit. There's a 10 exponential. It's also the horizontal, which is between 60 and 61 cents on the daily. That's now been hit. It's also a 50 exponential on the 4 hourly, which is in itself a portion of a golden cross retest. So for those who are super bullish, this is where the first entry point would be. Second entry point, if we do break this area, would be back down to the 50s, the mid 50s, 56, 57, 58, maybe even a little lower, but between 55 and 58 cents. Now XRP, because it gets traded through exchanges, not just with spot and USDT, but you can also use XRP as collateral on a variety of exchanges like Bybit and the exchange I use, BYDFi. So with that comes liquidating wicks on both directions, because the collateral itself is XRP. It's not just a reference of what it's worth, it's about how much gets lost, liquidated on both sides. So when trending moves take place, even if XRP's trending move has been pretty or just say maybe not disappointing, because it's doing what we expected, but it's been pretty timid in comparison to some of these other altcoins that seem to be moving left, right and centre. When the volatility kicks in across the board for Bitcoin and Ethereum and just the general market, you will see big wicks that will take you to places you didn't think were possible. You'll be like, hang on a minute, XRP's really not moved up much at all. How is it able to wick down to these low levels? Well, that's the reason why. You know, it's used as collateral. It gets liquidated not just on a USDT, but on its own right as XRP. So just think about that. So when I point out that, yeah, this is an area to buy from, which it is, you know, that is what we were saying in this morning's video. This is part of that retest. It's you know, very bullish to see it get picked up on a 50 exponential, which is basically about 60 to 61 cents. If we do get another nudge down the stairs for Bitcoin and everybody else, then today's you know, precursor for that trade will be getting hit. Now, just because I made that video this morning doesn't mean that that's what I expect to happen. It's a trade setup for anybody who wants to, you know, think about that. It doesn't mean, yeah, I said it's going to happen. I'm just putting it out there that it's not uncommon for golden crosses to get retested on any time frame, even a 5 minute all the way up to a weekly. It's not uncommon. Now, we do have our fresh golden cross, so it would not be unrealistic to expect it to get retested. Is there enough evidence to say that it will? Well, I think possibly, given the fact that Bitcoin's ran all the way up to its previous all-time high and had a pullback, and the S&P is pulling back now too, that we might have an extension on this pullback, and Bitcoin finds some support around 61 to 62 and then gets picked up big time from there. And also that would lead nicely into this golden cross retest, where you get picked up nicely from there. And if you think about what a golden cross retest often gives you, is a V-shaped recovery. So that'll be up to the 66, 67 cent zone, which is a 20% move. Now, as for this crooked line that I've got drawn in from this morning, this is also possible. That is the bullish retest of the golden cross, alongside all the other components of this chart being actually quite bullish. And then from here you springboard not just to a V-shaped recovery, but then you go on to the rally. So I'm just putting it out to you there that this XRP trade is far from failed. In fact, you know, it's kind of leading into what I was talking about this morning. Now, it doesn't have to dip deeper. It will do it if the rest of the market decides to do it. But golden crosses have a habit of getting retested. They get retested more than they don't get retested. And because the 50 and the 200 are both sitting around the same area, this gives you a rough target of around the mid 50s, the mid to upper 50 area. I'm just putting it out to you there that, you know, it doesn't have to happen. I don't say these things because this is exactly what's going to happen. I say these things because there's a possibility of it happening. And, you know, I, as a trader, I'm eyeing up this potential opportunity. If it were to happen, I would take full advantage of it. If it doesn't happen, it's no big deal. It's absolutely no big deal. So, like I say, I appreciate that when I say things, I have some kind of influence on how you might think. But every video that I produce, if that's what you want to call it, every video that comes out that I make about any chart is not an absolute guaranteed call. And all I'm trying to put out there is that this is something that's changed on this chart. It's actually changed for the bullish, but it might not feel bullish initially because you would pull into it. And this is, I suppose, how lots of want-to-be traders get caught short, because I'm talking about a bullish setup, which it absolutely is. But I'm also talking about a plunge into that. So even from this moment's price action, we're talking about a further 9%. If we talk about the wick high of today, we're talking a pullback of almost 15.5%. So it is bullish, but you have to allow for the move into it. So it's a bullish chart on all time frames. It absolutely definitely is. But the markets are all pulling back now, which I suppose feeds into the idea that this would like to see a retest of a golden cross before a V-shaped recovery, and then some. And again, once you get the V-shaped recovery, we're still going to be battling with all these resistances in the first place. In fact, you've got to take this one back on again. You've got to come from 58 to 61, back up to 68. Then you've got all these other ones to take out too, to the Holy Grail, which is all the way up here, roughly around 120. Roughly speaking, around 120. And if we go on further than that, excellent. So look, this is what it is to trade, right? This is what it is. It's about thinking about what would happen if it breaks out from here straight away. What would happen if it goes down from here straight away? What's the likelihood of it bouncing from here and actually going on for a big rally? Trading is about digesting as much information as possible, understanding the indicators that you've chosen to focus on, because there's, let's face it, millions of them out there. These are the indicators that I choose to focus on. I like XRP because it respects these indicators more than others, or at least more than other charts respect these indicators. And so when I look at this chart, I see a bullish chart with a possibility of a deeper pullback, which would then move into a V-shaped recovery and then break out finally. But it's not going to do it, if the rest of the market pulls back on its own. So we just got to sit back, see what's going on. I'm still in an XRP trade, no big deal. In fact, I say no big deal. It's in a few 100% still at the moment. But I'm still in my XRP trade. I'm not looking to get shaken out of anything particularly. And if anything, I'll just be looking to add positions around this level, because this would be it would be rude not to do it. Anyway, like I say, there'll be plenty more information about all the charts that you want to watch and see. If you want to join the Patreon, so links in the description below. Other than that, I hope you have a nice day and take it easy.